And on Neefle TV, we are at Fankhauser Reserve on the beautiful Gold Coast. Not a cloud in the sky here. It is the second-placed Southport Sharks. They are hosting Sydney University in this round 16 clash. Mark Kennedy's my name. And joining me this afternoon is the lovely Neefle media manager. And I say lovely because Jess Webster, welcome. And a picture of loveliness as always. And setting up for a lovely clash here today.
Thanks, Kanga. Yeah, it should be a really ripper clash here at Fankhauser Reserve. Of course, the last time these two sides met back in round 10, Southport beat them by 110 points and reduced Sydney University to their lowest ever score in the Neefle. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Sydney University respond in what is a pretty important game in terms of ladder positioning.
Well, you think that Sydney Uni, after that embarrassment, and we will call it embarrassment because in that round 10 clash, I think a lot of people expected it would be very tight. And to be beaten in such a fashion, they will have set themselves for today, there's no doubt. Southport, on the other hand, they probably had a disappointing loss against Aspley, but they've come off the back of a few very difficult weeks. So it sets up for a really interesting clash to see how both sides are going to react.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sydney University, they're coming off a loss against Brisbane in what was a pretty tough game. I think obviously Brisbane had a pretty strong side and Sydney University pushed them for most of the way. I think they'd be disappointed to almost let that one slip in what I think was, I guess, a winnable game. Starting to get some cavalry back are the students. They've had a bit of a horror run with injury this year and they're still missing the likes of Nathan Cooper and Xavier Richards, but they've still got so much class in their side when you look at Craig Bird, Tom Young, these kinds of guys. It will be a great battle in the midfield coming up against the likes of Boston and Clayton. Again, and we get to see who Lee Dale is going to go to. Of course, the last two times these sides met, he completely took Tom Young out of the game, and which was a performance I think went a long way to that huge victory. So many little matchups to look out for, Kanga. I'm really looking forward to this clash. It should be a ripper.
And this last clash, and we need to keep going back to it, there's no doubt it was a little bit spiteful. There were little spot fires breaking out everywhere, and I didn't have the pleasure to be here. But looking at the vision, it was certainly very interesting. And I can already see out there that there's some feeling, and a lot of players straight away going to Damien Bonney to acquaint themselves with the serial pest, the digger's rest that he is for Sydney University.
And we can see in the middle of the ground as well, the players aren't even in their positions yet, and they're already few push and shoves. And of course, Kanga, we have to mention that Southport come into this clash without their leading goal kicker, Mitch Johnson, omitted from the side this week. Big performance is needed from the likes of Josh Hall, who comes back in to the side as well.
Well, we are set up for a wonderful clash here this afternoon at Fankhauser Reserve, round 16 of the Neefle. This is the voice of Jess Webster.
So Tagliabue and Jed Turner do battle in the ruck. That one favoured Tagliabue straight down the throat of Craig Bird, but he's tackled immediately by Andrew Boston, and we will have a ball luff still inside the centre square.
And a couple of positional changes, so Sydney University really are sort of trying to switch around and get Southport off their game. Plenty of players around the contest. Ford gets it out of the pack. Hancock gathers it nicely, gives it off to Josh Hall, puts the skates on and kicks for goal. That's true. And Hall back in the side after an absence last weekend gets Southport off to a flyer.
And I mentioned it about 30 seconds ago that Josh Hall needs to get himself on the score sheet today, and that was a lovely finish and just what Southport I think needed just to put that scoreboard pressure on early. And he gets the first goal of the game. So let's see if his students can respond.
Wind a bit swirly here. So have you got any thought process? I'm just trying to look around at some flags. It looks to be coming almost down to the forward pocket in the clubhouse side towards us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it always kind of goes almost diagonally across the game. I think at Fankhauser Reserve. So a bit all over the place.
Yep, amazing first goal there for Southport.
So we're back in the middle. Tagliabue wins that tap again. Clayton and Bird in the race to the footy. Bird on his hands and knees. Now it's with Dale, and he is tackled by Zach O'Brien, who didn't play the last time these two sides met, so he will no doubt want to get his hands on the footy.
Umpire throws it up again. That was Turner there, just almost blocking Tagliabue for a run. Umpire said no, plenty of bodies around it, so we'll ball it up again. A lot of push me, shove you around the contest. No clear winner of that ruck contest. Dale puts the tackle on, but Hiscock gets it out. Good spoil there from Murdoch, and Southport, they can get it out of defence. Running there is Clements, Hancock there also. So the little men, they couldn't quite take it away as Sydney Uni. They missed their target there. They were looking for Dimmer. He couldn't find him, and Southport can go inside forward 50. Hall just thrown out of it there by Day. Illegally, says the umpire. So Josh Hall can go back. And if you reckon he's got the distance, he could shoot for number 2.
We just saw in the centre of the ground just an errant handball that just, didn't hit its target for Sydney Uni, and Southport were able to capitalise. So there's costly skill errors. Can't afford to do that too often, Sydney University today.
We can get a bit of a better look at this breeze. He's pushing Hall's way. He'll have to start at the right goal post. Kicks it nicely. It's on target. Hall with 2. The Sharks with 2, and they're away.
Jeez, that's a great finish in this swirly breeze, and Josh Hall straight back into the side. 2 goals within 2.5 minutes. Not a bad return. Southport, they're on fire at the moment in the early stages. It's just, you can see it's already sort of going at fast pace, and there's a little kind of kicks out of a pack, and it's just a matter of sort of getting it forward and taking your opportunities, and that's exactly how Southport got that last goal.
Well, the first psychological blows have been landed, but mostly on the scoreboard for Southport. And Sydney University, they'll be carrying those mental scars from that round 10 clash. So we're going to see what they're going to bring into this, and they're going to have to really steel themselves.
So how big is this centre clearance for Sydney University? Already 2 goals down in the opening couple of minutes. As we see, Lee Dale looks like he's gone to Zach O'Brien for the day. So give that one to Tagliabue again. Coming through there is Baxter. Fires off a handball to Roos. Just chucks it on the outside of the right boot. Goes inside forward 50. Watson gathers for the Sharks. And the handball comes out to Roos again. Just wheels around and bombs it inside 50. Watson flies, but he can't take the mark. Clements just fends one off. Gets the handball out, but straight into the path of Tagliabue, who is wrapped up in a tackle by Josh Clayton. Ball up inside 50 for the Sharks.
Do you like the way that young Sean Watson jumped at the ball there? Jumped with great intent. We saw a couple of wonderful marks last week that he took and resulted in goals. Plenty of players around the contest again. Mutu lays the tackle. And there would be, you could throw a handkerchief. It'd be a big handkerchief, admittedly, but throw a handkerchief over about a good dozen to 15 players. Tagliabue again. Get that one to Watson, though. Hiscock lays the tackle for the students, and we will have a ball up 30 metres out from goal, directly in front. Southport attacking. See what they can do.
So Watson in the ruck. Tagliabue again wins it. Clements first to meet it. Little toe poke towards goal. Hiscock should mop up for the students, and he does. Handballs over the top of Hebron, but he's tackled by Reeves. And again, another ball up. This time in the right forward pocket for the Sharks.
Gee, that physicality of the tackling. It's just that little bit of extra niggle. Tagliabue. It's the ball down. Wrapped up there is O'Brien. He tried to fend one off. What's the umpire going to say here? He's going to say it's mine. Go again. Southport just advancing the ball a little closer to goal. And again, just plenty of players around this contest. Tagliabue again. Roos fed it backwards. No one in particular was there. Clayton wrapped up there by Bonnie. That'll be holding the ball for sure, I would have thought. Umpire says no, though. We'll have the ball thrown up yet again.
So still inside forward 50 for the Sharks. They're pressing early. The ball spills over the back. Lee Dale tries to extract it and he can't. He's dispossessed. Again, so many numbers around this contest. We're going to have another ball up inside 50, about 30 metres out from Sharks' goal.
And every player forward of centre. So just really compacting this space.
So umpire tosses it up again. Zach O'Brien trying to burst his way through the pack. The ball spills out to Ethan Reeves. A flying shot on goal. Misses to the right-hand side, and that's a minor score. Southport 2-1-13. Sydney Uni yet to score. We played 6.5 in the first.
That was Goulden, I think, at full back there. He just copped the wrath of a goal umpire's flag for his troubles. He kicks the ball to himself. He says, I've got to get away from there, from that umpire. But unfortunately, kicks it straight to Southport. And this is Davis. Davis has a man in Roos. Well spotted. So right on forward 50. I think he's got the journey and he just posturing like he doesn't. He goes for the pass, and he finds a target. And is the former Sydney Uni player in Michael Menteith there.
Smart kick from Ruse. He's now up to 4 inside 50s and 6 disposals. He's on fire at the moment, but such a crowded forward 50. He needed to spot up a target, and he did. And Michael Menteith will have a shot for Southport's third.
Of course, we're right behind this. Neefel TV, and that's not his best effort, but it sits up at the top of the square. Tagliabue couldn't take it. Ball at ground level. Again, players converge to force a stoppage.
In Southport, they're so good at setting up a wall defensively. They play really great zone defence, so it'll be hard for Sydney Uni to get out of this one if they do hack it outside defensive 50. So, ball up. Coming through there was O'Shea. Handballs off to Mutu. Just a high up and under kick. And again, Mutu will go it again, but Tagliabue wins the footy, but he just hacks it out defensively. A contest on the wing. Reinhard couldn't mark. Taylor handballs to Seb Tape. Little chip inside 50. Tagliabue standing in the way. Mark is paid notice for a push, I think it was, going to Tagliabue. Dishes off to Goulden. He measures a kick over the top to Bartholomew's, and Sydney University are away. Bartholomew's kick is just not a good one, ill-directed. It'll fall in the path of Seb Tape, the co-captain for the Sharks, and he can chip and find Ethan Reeves.
Just a little bit, I guess the vision just wasn't right there for the Sydney University. Really kicking to a bit of nothingness, and it was easy pickings for the experienced Seb Tape. Southport back in their back pocket now. Murdoch goes long. Turner is there and just plucks the ball away from Aaron Day. Gives it to Boston. The wrestler goes into the middle, into the ring, almost into the ring. Goes wider and finds O'Shea. O'Shea on the outer wing. Goes down towards forward. Made good space. Good defending there by Sirakoski. The handball, though, from the students is intercepted. Ends up with Menteith. Another shot for goal. And couldn't make them pay. That was, again, another costly disposal error from Sydney University. It nearly cost them a goal.
It's what let them down. I know we keep harping on it, but that round 10 game at the same venue, Sydney Uni just kept on playing it into Southport's hands. As Bird goes backwards to Day, and he switches it to Morrison. Ships it to Hiscox. They're still inside defensive 50, the students. Hiscox now just winds up and goes to Bonnie right in the middle of Fankhaza Reserve. He switches it to the commentary side, but it's 50 metres paid, I think, for going over the mark against Seb Tape. And Damien Bonnie will be marched inside forward 50, and he can have a shot for Sydney University's first goal.
That protected area, wasn't it? It's just Southport encroaching on that protected area. And that's just an area you don't... You want to have, when you have somebody by the throat, you don't want to give them a chance. And I just feel a little bit of undisciplined play there from Southport has just opened the opportunity up for Damien Bonnie and the students.
So Bonnie on the approach. Let's go from 48 metres. And it's just snuck through. The students are on the board. Southport 2-2-14. Sydney University one straight kick. We've played 10.5 minutes in the opening term.
Well, Damien Bonnie... Southport won't like that whatsoever because there is no love lost there. But the students love him because he is an in under. He's a niggler and he gets the job done. Psychological type of thing. And we see it right at the boundary line. Bonnie just acquainting himself with
Tyler Ruse. Oh,
well, once a niggler, always a niggler. A leopard. I think he's just watching Damien Bonnie there. Just wondering about well, there's a few plugs in that do. He's pushing out there, and we're away again. We'll talk about hairstyles again later. The Neefel TV. Davis gets it inside forward 50. Watson flies for it. Picked up there by Wilkinson. He was under pressure, so just handballed in front of him. Day went hard. Got the handball up. Chain of handballs. Just pushes into the path. It might be Barkley. And the students... They just about get out of trouble, do they? No. Southport, they'll have another go. The handball misses Davis. Can't quite find a target, so now the players arrive, and there's plenty of them around there. And the umpire will ball this up. Just got to tighten up their disposal efficiency. Sydney University.
So 8 points the margin halfway through the first term as Monty Crockmore tries to run through a wall of Southport players and he's going nowhere. We'll do it all again. Ball up just outside forward 50 for the Sharks. So Marsh in the ruck for the Students. Straight down to Boston and he's tackled by Tom Young. And we'll have yet another ball up. Already a really contested game here at Fankhauser Reserve, Kanga.
Certainly is. Tom Young and Boston will no doubt dig in, both of them. Just getting his kick away there was O'Shea. It's going deep inside forward 50. Good attack there by Wilkinson. It comes at ground level. And it was Ford that couldn't finish.
They look dangerous going inside 50, don't they, the Sharks? They're flying at the contest and doing all the right things.
And again, it's they get the ball to ground. It's their mosquito fleet that always looks like it's going to result in something for them.
So from the kick in, the Students, Morrison goes backwards to Sirakowski, switches it to Hebron. He's got a bit of room to move. Just measures a kick to Day, right half back. Day inboard to Dimmery. He wheels around, a little short kick, just 15. And finds Hares, who drives it inside the centre square. Ball falls over the head of Foster. Coming through is Wilson. He's tackled. And now it's a turnover. Murdoch for the Sharks. Just winds up and sends it inside 50. Wilkinson has a few metres on his opponent and marks. And he's got a man running into the square. It's Hancock and he takes the chest mark. He's dealt with after he took the mark as well, and it's 50, but he was already 10 metres out from goal. This should be Southport's third.
Well, it was already a lay-down there from the top of the square, and now it's right on the line. And again, just these little psychological blows that Southport seem to be inflicting.
So Hancock makes no mistake from the top of the square, and that is Southport's third. And how dangerous do they look on the rebound, Kangaroos? We see another turnover in the centre of the ground from Wilson, and it was Murdoch, really smart kick out in space, and they just did the rest, just used that space beautifully.
Well, it was good vision, wasn't it? I mean, the obvious one was to lower the eyes and look a bit shorter, but when you do have a weapon like Murdoch does with that left foot, you need to use it, and it's excellently positioned by Southport.
I like the way Sydney University, they're going down the corridor, which I don't mind, but you've just got to make sure your kicks hit the target, because it is the most dangerous part of the ground to turn the ball over, and they've already done that a couple of times.
So Hall and Tagliabue, that one will come back and we'll start again. Just want to mention, I know that it was a bit of an easy goal to Wade Hancock there, but I really like the way he's gone about his footy this year. He's been very good. He's played second fiddle in terms of goal kicking to Mitch Johnson. He's not in the side today, but he's been a vital cog. Manteet, as we restarted, was flipped off the ball. There's a holding free kick. It'll go the way of the Students. It'll be Dimmery that has it. Hiscock runs for him, gets it now. Gets around Reeves, has the run there of Foster. Foster has a target, but the kick's a shocker. It's down to Reinhardt. He just, chain of handballs, ends up with Young. Gets it through, a little bit of space there, but arriving back in numbers of the Sharks. Reeves was there, Manteet was there. The ball just nicely pushed over the boundary line, and we'll have a throw in with the Students attacking 25 metres around from their goal.
So, Students still with a chance inside 50. The umpire tosses it back in. Marsh against Hall. Ball spills to Wilson, but he's tackled by O'Shea. Ball spills out to Bartholomew's. Little dinky kick to Reinhardt. Just 15, says the umpire. And Reinhardt will have a shot on goal. About 15 metres out. No real angle to speak of.
Get the measuring wheel out for that one. But you play to the whistle, and that's what the Students were doing, and Southport have been forced to do. So Reinhardt can go back and shoot. So
Reinhardt to cut the margin to 9 points, and he makes no mistake. Sydney University had their second goal of the afternoon. 3 goals, 21 plays, 2 straight 12, 16 and a half gone in the first term.
Well, Sydney University have already come over or overcome one milestone, and that's the milestone of kicking more goals than they have the last time they were here. So they only managed one goal, and that was in the last quarter of the game. They've kicked 2 already to better their score. So 9 points the margin. Southport look dangerous, and the students have hung in there, though, on the scoreboard at least.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Southport sort of are in control of the contest at the moment, but Sydney University within a goal and a half, so they might be pleased because Southport have just, their pressure and their weight of possession, I think. They should be further in front, but they're still obviously in it in early days.
Bounce will go again, so twice in a row. Umpires advisor sitting not far away from us here. They'll be just getting them to a bit more concentration while slamming it down into the middle of Fankhauser. Tagliabue puts on a very solid tackle. Sydney University, they will win the ball. Coming away from it there is Goulden. Goes very wide. Just eludes Crockmole. Clements is there. Goulden goes again. Clements lays a tackle now. The ball's on the outer wing, close to the boundary line. Manteet, he's wrapped up. And that was nicely done. Umpire will ball it up. Getting up from the tackles, Craig Bird, former Essendon and Sydney Swan.
So ball up on the outer side. Coming away with it is Turner and just hacks it towards half forward. 4 will fly at that one. Had 2 to beat though. Off hands, Goulden, handballs to Dimmery. And then he handballs inboard to Crockmole. Little handball over the top. Morrison couldn't gather it. Crockmole goes again to Dimmery, to Bird. And he's got Stevenson out wide. Stevenson measures a kick down the outer side wing. Offhands again. Bonnie runs onto it though from 55. Goes to Lucy in the square. Plays on goal. Great transition from Sydney University. They almost coughed it up along the wing, but they were good enough to hold possession and get it over the top of the Southport defence, and finishes up with Austin Lucy.
That's good to take the glory there, Austin Lucy, but the lead-up work was fantastic, wasn't it? The chain of handballs just behind centre there, and then the run and the front and centre crumbing ability of Bonnie and get the ball over the top. It was a good goal. It was a good team goal, that one. Finished by the former Essendon listed player and Aspley Premiership player in Austin Lucy, former Morningside product as well. He's been around.
Certainly has.
Now 31 years of age is Austin Lucy, or coming up 31 years of age. A veteran status. Ball back in the middle. No real clear winner. Boston set upon. No winner there. Umpire said break for the Mexican wrestler and Tagliabue. Turner goes in hard. Tagliabue goes in harder. He comes up with the ball, but immediately tackled yet again.
Pretty good start to this game, Kanga. It's only 3 points to margin. You feel as though Southport should be further in front, but to Sydney University's credit, they're sort of matching them at the moment.
They've settled, haven't they?
Yeah.
Coming away, Manteet with a quick kick right to forward 50. Hancock just kept his feet in the marking contest well. Took it again. Baxter couldn't take it with him. Sierakowski, he's wrapped up. That is gone. I thought for a moment as the umpire hesitated, he's almost going to let the situation go. We have a scuffle in the middle of the ground. Players are coming in there.
And the free kick's been reversed.
It has been reversed, as there would be about 15 players having a fair old wrestle. Turner and Young being 2 of them, former teammates. So the free kick's been transferred back into the middle of Fankhauser reserve. Oh, it's Sierakowski with the ball.
So Sierakowski goes inside, forward 50. Ball spills over the back of the pack. First in the race is Bonnie, just tries to tap it to himself and then play for the free kick. And now players will converge on this one, force a ball up, almost on the goal line of Sydney University's attacking end.
Frantic, isn't it? In different little spot fires breaking out. Such is the importance of this game for the rest of the season. That's O'Shea coming away with the ball. On defensive 50 it is. Mutu just went to ground and jumped upon by a couple of students. Try to teach him a few things. Umpire says no, and it'll be balled up on that defensive 50 for Southport. Uni attack.
22 minutes played in the first and 3 points the margin as Sydney University win out through Craig Bird. Just a rush kick inside 50, and getting the fist on that is O'Shea. And it goes over the line for a minor score. So 3-3-21 plays 3-1-19.
Davis goes up the middle. Clayton's a target. Took it well. Marsh was bearing down upon him. Clayton goes out wide. That's not the best kick because Damien Body is underneath it. Mutu makes good ground to spoil and then keeps his feet and wins the day. Short little pass. Finds Hall on the bounce and he's immediately wrapped up. Will come further again. Clements wins it at ground level, which is not hard because he's only tiny. Now it ends up with Dale. Dale, deep inside forward 50. Hancock. Manteet off the ground. He was tackled. The ball spilled. He got a foot to it. Wasn't any good because it just got through for a point. Sydney University bring it quickly back in, but they'll turn it over. Baxter it is, who'll make them pay. A bad error from the students. And Southport get another through Josh Baxter.
Just a great footy game at the moment. I mean, Sydney University, they tried to play on quick from the kick-in and they had space to work with. But again, another costly skill error, and Baxter, what a great finish from him from 45 metres out. He fell over. He was winding up for a big celebration, Kangaroo, but he fell over. So probably a little bit subdued from his standards in terms of the celebration. It was a great goal, though. It
certainly was. And I know the point was kicked before that. And it was a wonderful lead-up play there from Hancock and Ford and a few others involved there in the attack of Hall.
Now, one-on-one contest from Mutu as well. He had no right to win that, but he just scrapped and scrambled his way, and it set up that attacking play for Southport. So margin now back out to 9 points. Now 24 minutes gone in the first term. So Tagliabue straight down to Bird. But his kick is partially smothered. Falls in the hands of Reeves. He's dispossessed. And this ball looks like it's going nowhere. Ball up, still inside the centre square.
Very vocal, the students' bench, calling for holding the ball. Hard to argue with them. Mutu, he's wrapped up. A good strength, gets it to Boston. Boston quickly on the boot. Good contest there with Hebron and also Hancock. The two H's. Take it out of bounds. The boundary umpire will throw it back into play. Right on forward 50, out of sight. Southport attack.
So Tagliabue and Turner to do battle in the ruck. As the ball comes in. Falls front spot. Just a hack kick out of the air, but it falls into the path of Fife. Handballs to Davis. Gets around Foster. A spear and kick inside 15. Taking the mark is Rob Clements. And he will have a shot on goal. 35 metres out, 45-degree angle.
Now, I know Sydney University were trying to clear the ball and just the indiscriminate kick off the ground just had no real impetus about it. And Southport, they were there. Johnny on the spot. And what about the bullet-like pass from Davis? I don't think Clements was the intended target, but he cut across it nicely. He
did. So Clements comes in and kicks the goal, and Southport edge out to 15 points clear. 5-4-34 plays 3-1-19. 25 minutes played in the term. Goal for goal.
It is goal for goal. Southport have kicked the last two through Baxter and now Clements. So you'd say in what's been a pretty torrid first quarter physically, there's plenty of scuffles out there. Push me, pull you type situation all around the ground. And it does take it out of you that Southport, they've won the day so far. It's not over yet though by any stretch.
So from the middle, Turner flies high over Tagliabue. Bird tries to come in there, knocks Ruse off his feet. The ball spills to Hiscox and he's tackled by Clark. The umpire says that is a ball up right on the edge of the centre square. 60 out from Sydney University's goal. So from the throw up, just ricochets off for a few pairs of hands. Tom Young now with a chance. Falls to Sirakowski. He can't gather. Baxter, he just went, I'll have it. Handball's out to Davis, and now the Sharks are away. Davis up to half forward in the Hancock direction. Just kept his feet again over Hebron. Little dinky kick inside 50, marked by Mucha. He wants to play on. Handball's over the top to Wilkinson. Just gets his boot to ball. Coming through his day. Wins the footy. Handball's out to Hebron. He's tackled, but gets rid of it to Bartholomew's. He's stripped of it. Southport is still pressing. Now Tom Young's in there. The ball spills out towards the boundary line, and Fife is wrapped up in a tackle. And we will have a ball up as a Southport player is down and hurt.
Pick up who that is in just a moment.
Could be Charlie Ford.
Yeah, it is Ford. Just looking through the binoculars, I can see the 38 on his back. He looks in a fair bit of discomfort. He was really calling for, or clutching, I should say, his right leg. And he's going to roll back over, and he looks in a fair bit of discomfort. So, not wonderful news for Southport.
I didn't quite see the incident, though, but he's obviously not in a hurry to move anywhere, so hopefully it's nothing too serious. He's obviously one of the inclusions to the Sharks side today.
And they are going to pick him up, and he is a bit ginger, but it looks like he might put weight on that right leg, or as little as possible.
He does look in a fair bit of discomfort. I hope it's not any kind of ligament damage. It's the way he's moving. He just doesn't want to put any kind of weight on it.
And having experienced a fair few knee injuries myself, you just hope that that initial shock that you get with, I don't want to say it's an ACL, but it just didn't look wonderful. So Southport come away with it quickly. Quick kick out of the pack. Came from Reeves, but it hit the goal post, and so 1 point results. That was a let-off for the students.
Almost a great goal there from Reeves, but Goulden with the kick-in duties for the students. Just drives it long outside defensive 50. Day and Baxter in the marking contest. Off hands, close to the line. Ball is tapped out the back. Taylor comes to meet it for the Sharks. He can't find a target. And Ruse is wrapped up, forces a ball up about 80 metres out from the Sharks' goal, close to the boundary line.
Players organising themselves. Davis gets the ball away. Awkward looking kick inside forward 50, and well done there by Goulden. Just gets the spoil away, does it nicely, hammers it over the boundary line. Throw in we'll have. The doctors and physios just checking Charlie Ford down on the bench. Hopefully he is all right. And that's the quarter time siren. And the scores there at quarter time: Southport 5-5, 35 playing Sydney Uni 3-1-19. It's been an entertaining first quarter. Fair bit of niggle, fair bit of push and shove, but it's certainly been a good contest, Jess Webster.
Oh, I think we've got exactly what we wanted here and what we expected between these two sides. Of course, sitting second and fourth on the ladder, and Sydney University just a game behind three teams tied in first place on the ladder, and they really need to win this one. But you're right, it's been a great contested footy, and like I said, plenty of feeling in this one. So I think we've got a lot of great footy to come in this game, that's for sure.
Goal kickers before we have a break. There's two to Josh Hall, the first two of the game, and singles to Clements, Hancock, and also Baxter for Southport. While it's all singles for Sydney University in Austin Lucy, Damien Bonney, and also Ned Reinhardt. We'll be back shortly after the quarter time break for NEFL TV. Thanks to our broadcast partner of Bar TV. We'll be back very soon. And we're back at Fankhauser Reserve for this round 16 NEAFL clash. Southport leading 5-5-35 and the Sydney University side are 3-1-19. Joining me, Mark Kennedy, is Jess Webster. And this second quarter will be very interesting because we'll see what the breeze, I suppose, and what real advantage there is. And we're going to see how Sydney University are going to respond after Southport 10 scoring shots in that first quarter.
Yeah, they certainly should be further in front of the scoreboard, but to the students' credit, they did settle in that first term. Kept up that scoreboard pressure as we're underway in the second term. Bird can't gather it, neither can Ruse. Again, a little kick off the ground by Crockmell inside 50. Ruse goes in again, and he's tackled by 2 Sydney Uni players. And we'll have a ball up just inside forward 50 for the students. And it's on again.
We have a fair bit of grief, and Andrew Boston's the man that gives away the free kick, and it'll go the way of Austin Lucy. Austin Lucy, he'll fancy himself. Good friends, Austin Lucy and Jed Turner, who stands on the mark, former teammates. But it's Austin Lucy who has the free kick. This will be a good start for the students if they can get it. We'll have to kick it from 52 metres, loads it up, it's going very deep, and at the back, Tagliabue. He just worked Charlesworth under the football. It was a bit of a size mismatch, 190 centimetres versus 206.
Well, Jed Turner was standing the mark, wasn't
he? Yeah, that's not real clever from a ruckman.
Yeah.
Not to be going with your opposing ruckman. Goes around the corner, off the mark, Tagliabue, and kicks a point. He just pulled it to the near side. So not the finish that Uni were hoping for to get us moving in this second quarter.
So Davis to bring the footy back in for the Sharks. Just spots up Murdoch in the pocket. So pretty crowded up ahead. So Murdoch will just have to go long to a contest. Hall didn't end up flying, but Hebron couldn't take the mark and forces a ball up close to the boundary line at left half forward for Sydney University. So Turner and Tagliabue to do battle again. Bird is tackled by Boston. We'll have another ball up. Haven't moved too far from where the last one occurred. And again, still plenty of push and shove between these players on the field. So Bird, another clearance to him. He's been busy early. Mutu just bumps Crockmell off the ball. Ricochets down the boundary line. O'Brien tries to fend off Clements, but he pushes him over the line for a boundary throw right in front of us here on NEAFL TV.
They seem to be trying to get to Lee Dale to try and put as much physical pressure on him as much as possible as he runs with Zach O'Brien. Tagliabue takes front spot. Coming through as Ruse. O'Brien lays the tackle. Ball's going nowhere. Umpire surely ball that up, despite the protests of a couple on the sideline or the boundary line for Sydney University, motioning for holding the ball. Tagliabue again. Ball near the boundary line. Goes over. We'll have a throw in there.
So Craig Bird up to 9 disposals now to his name, and Tyler Rue is still leading the way for the Sharks with 7.
So ball back into play. Give that one to Turner. Stevenson couldn't take it with him. Bird feeds it out. Hiscock's a man, loves to run. Gets the ball on the boot. Coming out to meet it though was Charlesworth, and he immediately gets it on to Ruse at halfback.
So well read by Charlesworth to chop that one off as Dale marks on the boundary line. So Dale elects to go long to a pack. Off hands, Mutu fires at the handball to Turner. Just wheels around on that left boot. Goes inside 50. Wilkinson against Barkley. Barkley wins the footy. Tries to find Sirakowski, but Clements comes in. Sirakowski handball over the top to Hiscox along the boundary line. Tries to measure a pass to Bird, and it's a good one. And he marks at left half back.
Not sure how that handball was a handball from Mutu earlier, but nonetheless, Hiscock, good running. Finds Reinhardt. Again, Stevenson just couldn't quite take the ball. Gathers quickly again. Running hard. Goulden. The outer wing. Inside forward 50, and Bonnie takes the mark. Nicely does it by Sydney Uni there, and Damien Bonney can line up for his second goal. He's the beneficiary of a 50-metre penalty for his first one. And this one, more conventionally, he'll have to shoot it from about all of 50 metres, you'd suggest. No great angle to speak of, though. Gives it plenty. Looks to be across the face, and it is. Only 1 point. So the margin back to 14 points. Early stages of this second quarter.
So, Sydney University, I don't think have kicked 2 goals in a row so far today. They just haven't quite strung a few goals together, and Southport have just kept that 2-goal buffer most of the day so far, as Davis kicks to himself and gets around Derricks on the mark. Oh, that is not a good kick. It still finds Boston, though, but he's had to rush a kick towards the wing. Hancock wins the footy. Little, again, pressured with the kick. Baxter trying to gather it, but he's under pressure. Still goes again, Baxter. Fires out the handball, but it misses its target. Clayton will have to work hard here, and he does. Handball out wide to Tate, the co-captain. Kick up towards Clements. He's got a bit of space. Coming through late was Goulden with the fist. Ball still in play close to the boundary line. Now it spills over. We will have a throw in between wing and centre half forward towards the Sharks' attacking end.
That kick just held up in the breeze, didn't it? Otherwise, Southport were right away. It's good closing work there from Goulden. Ball back into play. Marsh. And also Hall was there. The kick by Dimmery, that's out of bounds on the full, so Southport will get the free kick. Tape asked to play on, gets around Reinhardt. The kick's not a great one. It was a good leap there by Morrison. It was Harry Morrison. Am I right in saying younger brother of the coach Tommy Morrison, or no relation?
I'm not sure, actually, of that one.
All right. Well, I'll just say no, it isn't then. Before I could make it up and say yes, it is. We'll have to do a bit of a fact check. That's why I thought I'd ask the NEFL media manager.
It's the one thing I don't know, actually. So there you go. So from the boundary throw in, Hall just gets around one. Handballs inboard to Mutu. He then handballs, I think, to himself, and then rushed the kicker high up and under. But a comedy of errors there from Dylan Mutu. And Hebron comes in and lays the defensive tackle, and we will have a throw up 40 metres out, directly in front.
Well, one thing I do like is the intent. The intent of the Dylan Mutu and a couple of the Southport smalls. Ball at ground level again. Plenty of players around the contest. Goulden's got it. He's immediately set upon. And we will have another ball up. Southport are attacking. And the typing you can hear in the background, it's Jess Webster furiously doing her media management role with the NEFL as well as commentating. Didn't mean to put you off there as the ball's tied up under a few more.
Sure you got it covered, Kanga.
I'm all right. You type away. Tomorrow's headlines on the NEFL website. Thanks to Jess Webster. Plenty of players around the contest trying to come through their 5. Got it off to Big Watson. Feeds the handball over the top. Clements gets it to Mutu around the corner and right across the face it goes. Thought it might have been a goal there, but it was a good build-up. But only 1 point is the result as the ball comes in. Reinhardt drops a soda. Just keeps it back in. Now the students can come away. Dimmery on the left foot just puts it to the benefit of Bonney. He just stopped. Now he wins the ball at ground level instead. Back to Dimmery. Squeezes one down the boundary line on the left foot and finds Clark. And Clark for Southport can just easily chip it inboard and find Clayton.
So 15 points the margin here at Fankhauser Reserve. It's been a great contest so far as Southport swing the ball through Murdoch, chips over the top to Clayton, marks in front of Derricks. Inside defensive 50 are the Sharks. Clayton measures a kick to Clark, right half back. The patient footy here from Southport. Clark spears a kick to Baxter on the lead. So they've inched to right half back. There's a lot of options. He'll just have to go long in the Hall direction, and he does. And Hall have a fly at it, but in front of him is Day. Ball spills to Dimmery, but he runs out of real estate. And we'll have a throw in right on the interchange gates here on the commentary side wing.
And Southport were able to hold on to the ball and maintain possession at half back, and they were forced up the line eventually, but that's where Sydney University in the first quarter just gave the ball up a bit too easily and coughed up some goals as a result. Ball thrown back into play. Boston lays a tackle to force the stoppage yet again. And that time it was on Craig Bird. Two nuggety types. Bird and Boston. Turner had front spot, stood there. Bird feeds the ball backwards. Crockmull, Dimmery. Are they going to get away with it? Good work there from Boston on Morrison. Just forced a turnover. And Southport take advantage now. No. As the cavalry arrived for Uni just to make sure that no damage was done. Ball back into play. Bird sharks it nicely. Pardon the pun, because he plays for Sydney University. Gets it into the middle of Fankau's reserve. O'Shea's wrapped up. So plenty of stoppages here. Ruckman will be tired by the end of the day, I would have thought.
So just quickly around the grounds, Kanga. Full time at the SCG, the Suns 76 have defeated Sydney 53. Michael Barlow 50 disposals for the Suns, and Jordan Dawson with 23 tackles for the Swans. And that is a huge result in the context of the season, and also for these two sides here, because Southport could potentially go outright first place on the ladder.
Of course, with Canberra right up there as well. That's a high tackle. Go the way of Craig Bird. Got up a bit gingerly, but seems to be okay. Little chipping ball finds Dimmery. Backward of centre. Asked to go now. Fife in hot pursuit. Finds the man in Hares. And again, they're just making a bit of a mess of this. But they'll come away. Lucks of fortune. Advantage. And the students go inside forward 50. Unable to grasp it. There was Marsh. Plenty of players now around it. Will the ball come out? No, it won't, as Turner's right there with him's O'Brien. Have a ball up right on forward 50. Sydney Uni.
So about 12 minutes played now in this second term. Scoring has dried up. Just 3 behinds in total for this quarter. And we will have another ball up. Again, still a bit of niggly activity going on. So, Tagliabue and Turner falls to Clayton. Just hacks it out of the congestion. Coming through was Hares. He couldn't mark. And again, we'll have another ball up. It's just so hard to win the footy, Kangaroo, in this quarter. We'll have a ball up right in the centre circle at Fankhauser Reserve.
Well, what I don't mind this hard contest. It's no quarter asked nor given here. Fife lays the tackle on this occasion, and we'll do it all again. And what I like about this is the style of football in terms of hard ball getting that competes against some of these AFL clubs in the NEFL, as well as some of those midfielders get away. Sydney University, they take the ball away from that contest on that occasion. That's very well done there by O'Shea. Good defensive mark, gets it off to Murdoch. So
Murdoch wants to switch play, and he does. Measures a kick to Charlesworth, who marks just inside the boundary line. Right, where the 50-metre line intersects the boundary. Chips it and finds Manteet. So left half back for the Sharks. Manteet kicks long down the outer side. Off hands, Tape can't take the mark. Spills to Dimmery. Just a little handball into space. Tape comes through and collects it, but is run out of room, and we will have a throw in. True centre wing position outer side.
So we'll throw the ball in. Right on that outer wing here at Fankhauser Reserve. Of course, NEFL TV brought to you by our broadcast partner, Bar TV. Of course, the NEFL wonderfully sponsored by Elastoplast. Sydney University go forward. O'Shea couldn't take it. But the numbers. Just funneling the ball out there was Reinhardt. Bumped off the ball was Dale by Day. And we'll go again. And unsurprisingly, another stoppage.
Well, the next goal, Kangaroo, would be such a confidence booster, I think, for either side. They could just weather the storm, and the next one to sort of get that goal on the board will be very important in this first half. The ball ricochets over the boundary line for a throw-in. And the 50-metre line interjects the boundary.
We've already seen one upset today with Sydney Swans getting beaten by the Gold Coast. They were highly fancied, the Swans. Can we see Sydney Uni beat Southport?
So Bird finds Derek's out wide, who marks just inside forward 50, and he'll probably line up and have a shot on goal. He'd have to kick it about 52 metres.
It's a good build up there, wasn't it? It was a good kick to space, and we saw Southport do that in the first quarter, and that's come back Sydney University's way this time.
So Derek's just winds up and lets go from 50, and it just has the carry. I think it's a goal. No, the umpires are going to have a talk about this. It went right to the line. Could have been touched. Sydney University celebrating, and they should, because it's a goal. So finally the drought is broken here in the second term. It's taken 15.5 minutes, but we've got the first goal. And it brings the margin back to 9 points. Southport 5-6-36, Sydney University 4-3-27. And we have played nearly 16 minutes.
Well, important goal in the context of the game, isn't it? It just brings Sydney University much closer, just 9 points adrift now. And it would just give them some belief in what they're trying to achieve out here this afternoon. And try and re-establish themselves somewhat. They started the season in blazing form just to be able to chalk up win after win.
8 straight Sydney University had.
And then the wheels fell off somewhat as they became a little bit spasmodic in their win-loss ratio. And we're going to go again. Umpire. Just a little errant with his bounce. So he'll throw it up into the beautiful blue sky here. Turner, he won it and then just hacked it out of mid-air. Not his best and finest moment, I wouldn't have thought. Jed Turner, young. It's a ball away. And Sydney University take it forward. Beautifully picked up there by Murdoch, and he just wheels on that left foot. Open spaces. Hancock is there. Hebron was there with him.
Oh.
And then well done by Hall. Kept his feet. Kicked for goal. That is 3 for him. The benefit of just that little bit of leg speed and the ability to keep your feet was marvellous, to quote a cricket commentator.
How's the athleticism, though, from the big guy Josh Hall to turn his opponent inside out, keep his feet, and then a little dribbler on the outside of the boot? Yes, that was skillful. And this is coming from a player who spent 2-3 years out of the game while he's chasing a rugby league career. Obviously a mid-season signing for Southport. And he's come in today after being unavailable last week, or injured last week, and he's kicked 3 goals as a full forward role. He's definitely played his role today, and that was just a sensational goal.
I'm going strictly off the top of my head now, but I think 7 AFL games with the Gold Coast Suns, last of which was almost 5 years ago, and 3 goals. So away we go again. Baxter overruns the ball. Plenty of players come in now. Crockmole's over the top of it. Also there, and emerging with it was Tate. Gets it to Reeves. Reeves just put it behind Clayton, so just put it back into that stalemate type situation. Ball ricochets out of the pack Southport's way. And Hancock, and also there was Barkley. And the ball over the boundary line. Southport attack. It's on the outer side, some 60 metres around from their goal.
Southport, I think, have done well. They've always sort of found the answer to a Sydney University goal and just kept that 2-goal margin for most of the day so far. It's from the boundary throw-in. Young collects for the students. Handballs to Stevenson, but his handball to Bird puts him under pressure. Forces the ball up 70 metres out from Southport's goal. So, about 19 minutes played, margin 15 points. From the ball up, Reeves, just a short kick inside 50. Ball spills to Mutu, and now to Reeves. Again, it's still alive. Young now for Sydney University. Just fends one off. Handballs to a running Crockmall. Backwards inboard to Tom Young. He's pressured as he kicked it. And now it falls into the path of Davis, who wheels around and spots up Jordan Taylor almost in the centre circle. Great composure under pressure from Davis. And now Taylor swings it out wide to Clark, who marks centre wing position out of side.
Clark just has a chipping ball over the top, finds Clayton, just pushed into that space nicely. In front of the scoreboard saying 15 points is the margin in favour of the Sharks. The ball pumped inside forward 50 now. Turner collapsed the pack. Southport player appealed for the free kick. And the students, they can come away with it now. Man with the ball is Matt Wilson. Wilson, dangerous kick, but does find Dimmery. Dimmery looking on his left, chipping ball, finds it, now they're away. Hiscock through the middle, takes a bounce, and another. And now over the top, has the big boy in Marsh there, he runs onto it, quick handball, off to Lucy. Lucy back to Marsh. They made it hard, but they got the job done. And once again, the students close that margin back to 9 points.
Jeez, it's a good game of footy, and it was, they almost made a meal of it to Sydney University, and Charlesworth was trying his absolute best to take down two players, but they got the job done in the end. Goal for goal so far in this second quarter. And it's I think what Sydney University need to do, and it sounds very obvious, but it's been very difficult for them, is to get a bit of momentum going. I still feel as though Southport are generally in control, and it's Sydney University are almost playing a bit of catch-up. They need to try and string together a few goals in a row just to sort of make Southport become the hunters.
Well, what I'm really liking about Sydney Uni, though, is Hiscox. So Jack Hiscox, the run and carry and the ability to get on the outside. He kicked the ball inside forward 50 there, but on more than a number of occasions now, he's pushed back hard to clean up and then push forward Young away from the stoppage. Just Lucy just stood there as Charlesworth just tried to almost take a hanger, couldn't do so. Lucy did well. Going back there nicely with the fly to the footy. That was the big boy in Derricks. And Jacob Derricks, he can go back and shoot for his second this quarter and also try and narrow the margin back to just 3 points.
And this will make it interesting, Kanga, if Derricks can slot this one.
A much harder kick, the last one. And I didn't say he'd definitely kick it. I didn't put the commentator's curse on him, but it was enough for him to miss regardless. That's a bad miss too, as the kick in finds Boston.
So Boston finds Taylor in the right back pocket. Taylor assesses his options and then decides to go long. Hebron has front spot, off hands. Coming through as Mutu, wins the footy for the Sharks. Well done. Boston to Clayton, and then just hacks it out of there. One-on-one contest. Wilkinson against Barkley, and there's a free kick going Wilkinson's way for a hold. So, players streaming forward for the Sharks. Wilkinson elects to chip wide to Clayton along the boundary line and then bombs it inside 50. Watson has a couple to beat off hands. Sirakowski just fends off one. Barkley now. He's tackled by Wilkinson. The ball spills out to Sirakowski. And he goes to a 2-on-1 contest favouring the Sharks. Manteet comes through to spoil. Ball, though, still a chance for Sydney University. Wilson slung in a tackle. Manages to get the handball out to Young. Then to Derricks. Derricks chips it to Austin Lucy. A vacant forward 50. He goes long to Clark and Reinhardt in a marking contest. The ball spills over both of them. Through for a minor score. Margin, 2 points. And we have played 23 and a half minutes in the second term.
Well, it looked a little bit more dangerous all of a sudden, Sydney University, haven't they? Seem to feel that
and the
breeze.
margin's 7 points and not 2. Thank you.
7 points. So the ball over the back. Ruse runs onto it. Just kicks the little dribbler. No great effect. 2-on-1, Southport's way. Watson lays a very good tackle on Sirakowski. And we'll have a throw in front of the luxurious clubhouse here at Fankhauser Reserve.
I've just noticed, Kanga, Zach O'Brien looks like he's wearing runners and not football boots. I might have to get the binoculars. They look like runners to me.
We'll check that out in just a moment. That's him right there. It's in amongst it. Just almost tripped over there with Stevenson. Play on, says the umpire. Boston has his kick smothered. Manteet, he's met high. No free kick, says the umpire. And they can run the ball out here. This is Hebron. So right away they go. Hiscox. Mention him. He loves a little bit of run and carry. Bonnie tries to take it on his chest. Couldn't do so. Southport can repel. Now to Baxter. Baxter just long. Hancock's a target. Ball at ground level. It gets through. Wilkinson has a little bit of time, a bit of space. He just sizes up his options, chips the ball back, and Manteet, casual as you like, slots through for a goal. And all of a sudden, the margin back out to 15 points.
Did the team thing, did Wilkinson, to spot up Manteet. And again, Southport, they just find the answers at the moment, Kanga. It's just, you know, they're playing it very well. But, yeah, goal-for-goal contest, it's really entertaining. It's hard to see who will actually break it open. As much as I think, like I said, Southport, I feel like are in control. Sydney University never out of it.
No, I couldn't add up then. We're out to 13 points, is that right?
13, yes.
Yes, I think I might have said 15.
Clearly maths is not our strong point, Kanga. Right. Apologies for our listeners out there.
We're all prone to a mistake here and there. As long as we come up with the right score somewhere along the line.
So, back in the middle of the ground, approaching half-time here at Fankhauser Reserve. Hall up against Marsh in the ruck contest. Ball spills out to O'Brien. Handball over the top to Sirakowski. Then handballs to Hiscox. Tries to get around Baxter, and he's done a 360. And the umpire says that's holding the footy. Great tackle there from Baxter, because if Hiscox gets a little bit of space, he's off, Kanga.
I like the way, I mean, we've seen Josh Baxter out of the NEFL for a little while now. And he went and had a couple of seasons back in the QAFL with Labrador, winning premierships, and he's come back in. He took a little bit of time to get back involved, but I like his offensive pressure. So Sydney University will come away with it. Big Marsh gives it to the runner. There in Bird, little chipper. Finds Lucy. It was a high tackle. He'll go back to where Lucy was. So it was downfield, but no real advantage taken. So Austin Lucy on the outer side here at Fankhauser Reserve. Not a cloud in the sky here at the Gold Coast. I can even see the moon up there. Is that clear? Lucy over the top, finds Stevenson. One of the prime movers for Sydney University in over many years. Half forward, outer side, just puts it up in the air. So catch me. And it nearly hit Damien Bonnie in the bonce. Charlesworth has forced to tackle. Bonnie now forced to do likewise. And there's stalemate. And the ball will be thrown up yet again. Inside forward 50, Sydney Uni attack.
So can Sydney University find a late goal in this half? Ball. And there's umpires pulled out a free kick for a high. And here's a chance for Sydney Uni. I think it's going to Nick Foster. And he will emerge with the footy and have a shot on goal. Only 30 metres out, 45-degree angle.
Well, that was a little bit of an unlucky free kick. It was certainly there, so certainly not taking that away from Sydney Uni.
Here's an opportunity for the students just to get it back to that one-goal buffer at half-time. So Foster from the pocket, and he slots it. And the Sydney University players celebrate. Margin now back to 7 points, 7-6-48. Sydney Uni 6-5-41. 28 minutes gone in the second.
Had to change a jumper number as Foster into the 40, is that right? So we've had an issue there. And there's a free kick off the ball as players collided, and it will result in a free kick and another shot at goal to the Sydney University side, and it'll be the Diggers' Rest, the pest, in Damien Bonnie. And they're clearly getting under the skin of the Sharks. Comes in from 35 metres, 2 in a row. Margin at just 1 point.
Wow, what a turn of events. Just in the last couple of minutes, all of a sudden the margin's a point. And again, Damien Bonney, he does that so very well, just gets under the skin of the opposition. Makes no mistake with that kick. It's game on here at Fankhauser Reserve.
I think Southport coach Steve Daniels will be too thrilled with the lack of discipline shown by his Chargers. And the ball comes back, players settle down, and half-time is called, which makes it even more disappointing in the way the quarter finished for Southport. Sydney Uni, though, they'll be buoyant. They're right in this game. 1 point, the difference. And the scores, 7-6-48, Southport, and Sydney University, 7-5-47. Some crucial and potentially match-changing elements late in that quarter, Jess Webster.
Well, now I feel as though Sydney University might have the mental edge, Kanga, in this contest. They're a point behind at half-time, but, you know, they've definitely showed to Southport that they're here to play. As both teams sort of brush past each other on the wing. It was a bit weird, but look, we've got a great game, Kanga. It's really setting itself up for a really great second half, and can't wait to see who breaks it open.
Well, it was good work there by one of the central umpires just to get in between the two sides, just to chaperone both sides off. But it's set up for an absolute wonderful second half of this game. And on Neefel TV, we are covering this round 16 clash at half-time. It is Southport by 1 point. We'll be back with all the stats and, of course, all the action here on the Gold Coast. And the players are taking their positions after half-time. And at the main break, it was Southport by 1 point. It was pretty drama-filled with back-to-back goals by Sydney, with the ball not being bounced in the middle of the ground. Jess Webster joins myself, Mark Kennedy. And Jess, it was an enthralling contest there late in that second quarter, just to see the mind games, the physicality that went along with everything.
It's a bit of an arm wrestle at the moment, so can't wait to see this second half unfold on NEFL TV, thanks to our broadcast partner, Bar TV. So from the restart, Craig Bird, possession number 21, just kicks it down towards half forward. And Taylor first to meet it for the Sharks, wrapped up in a tackle. We will have a ball up just inside forward 50 for Sydney University.
Tight and tough. Ball up. Give that one to the University ruckman in Marsh, and then coming through quickly with Southport. Hall, he kicked the first two goals of the game, and Southport go forward now. It's going over the back. The run of Wilkinson. He handballed the ball in front of him, and he just got the handball away again, but it was well intercepted in the finish, and that was by Hebron, who just repels it. And just hanging on to the mark at half-back was Zach O'Brien.
Yeah, really well done from Hebron there, just to clear the kick and spot up a target as well. So Young squares it to O'Brien. Now he's been held up as the Southport defence get back in numbers. So Hebron just measures the kick inside, or O'Brien, sorry, to Day inside the centre square. So Day, just a driving kick in the Bonnie direction, coming through with the fist. It's co-captain Seb Tape for a throw-in between wing and half forward for Sydney University.
So Tape back there, and Bonnie likes to be running past him and just ask him how his day's going back there. Ball thrown back in. Turner. Clayton fell over. Emerging with it was O'Brien. Dale had him by the one arm, but he still managed to get the kick away. Jordan Taylor tried to put it to the advantage of Charlesworth, but only succeeded in putting it over the boundary line.
Some of the key stats for you, Kanga. Bird up to 21 disposals and 7 clearances. And for the Sharks, Josh Clayton and Tyler Ruse, 10 disposals each, are the leading possession winners. So
not much in terms of stats, but they've been effective in the sense that they're in front at the moment. Hares. Lachlan Hares just sends the ball back in. The far end of Fankhauser. At ground level there is, that was Reinhardt, Ned Reinhardt. And 1 point just to the near side. So scores the level here as Ryan Davis brings the ball back in, out of side.
Great kick to Seb Tape, although Tom Young did well just to put him off. And he ended up spilling the mark. And coming in is Marsh for Sydney University. Tries to win it, but he's wrapped up in a tackle, and we'll have a ball up right near the boundary line at right half back for the Sharks.
Tackling wise, 55 to 38. Boston has 8 of those for Southport.
So Tagliabue against Turner. Coming through was Manteet. And we'll have a throw-in.
Just some other key stats there. Hit-outs, 44-19 Sydney Uni's way. 30 of those going to the Goliath of a man, Tagliabue. And clearances actually going Southport's way, 25-19.
So from the ball up, Fife and Hares. But Fife is wrapped up by Craig Bird, and we will have yet another stoppage on the wing position out of side.
It's a bit of a line in the sand game for Sydney University, isn't it? It's they're going to stand up and be counted this year. I think after the beating they took here some 6 weeks ago, they want to make this one count, and so far they have come to the game and come to party.
Had such a great win over Southport. I think it was round 6 maybe at Henson Park off memory. They beat them by 33 points. And they looked really dangerous then. They have to get back to that ruthless football that they've become renowned for, Sydney University. Always been, I guess, the leaders in contested footy, but ever since they lost in round 9 to Sydney Friday night at the SCG, where their undefeated streak came to an end, they just haven't quite been the same. So this will do their confidence a world of good if they can get over the line today.
O'Brien Just shapes to get himself free, but the ball eventually turned over. Boston got the handball away. Southport go forward. Baxter couldn't come down with it on the second bite of the cherry. Hares is there. Day, he just run into. Looked like a high tackle to me. Now emerging was Craig Bird. It's down the line, and that's a nice mark. A very nice mark there by Reinhardt.
So Reinhardt wants to switch the ball. Dangerous kick into the corridor, and Seb Tape got a bit of leverage and took the great mark. Handball's off to Davis. He's run down and his Guernsey is ripped from him by O'Brien. Ball spills out to Taylor. But Bonnie came in and laid the tackle, and we will have a ball up just outside forward 50 for the students. Nice little ride there by Seb Tape.
It's probably the best one of the day so far. So Tagliabue gets another hit out. Boston's in there. And the ball is going nowhere. Right there with him there was Jack Dimmery. So they'll go again. Plenty of players rotating. They're just trying to find a free player. Doing it well there was O'Brien. O'Brien lobs it in high. Bonnie provided the spoil. And Ryan Davis wearing what could only be described as a dress.
I think he's going to come to the ground at some point.
Oh, well, that or the umpire really needs to call time on here and get him off, because theoretically they can't identify him by a number.
He's genuinely shirtless.
So, lucky it's not Mitch Johnson out there today, because his Instagram followers would be going nuts. So Southport get the free kick and go to Clark in the back pocket. And go to the outer side. Standing underneath it there was Sirakoski, and he's just gone for a shepherd, and it was against Baxter. So Sirakoski wins the free kick, and that kick just goes too wide. And out of bounds on the full it goes, and Clark will be the man.
So the runner has brought out a Guernsey for Ryan Davis, who is manning the goal square like a goalkeeper. He's like, I'm not going anywhere. So you'll have to bring a Guernsey to meet. And Southport bringing out to defence, and Davis didn't have enough time to put the Guernsey on. Measures a kick to Brodie Murdoch at left half back, and now Davis will have a moment to put his shirt back on.
I'll make the blooper reel later in the day. Going high was Hall. Goulden was there. Hebron. A bit of nothing handball type work going on here. There's nothing clearing. And Hall ties O'Brien up, so we'll have a ball up there. I'll identify what number Davis has gone into in a minute.
He's still number 7, so they had a spare Guernsey for him.
And the free kick off the ball will go the way of O'Brien. O'Brien just looking for the chipping pass. He was looking for Stevenson, couldn't find him. Baxter cleans up for Southport, right in the middle of Fankhauser Reserve. And that is a free kick. It'll go for a hold against Southport player. It might be Mantide, I think. Yes, it is. And Sydney Uni, they can reload. Tagliabue. Now to Morrison. Morrison looking for a target. Well done there by Davis. Back in the familiar 7. And out of the skirt. Fife. And he will win the free kick for a push in the back. Southport lucky because Sydney Uni were building again.
So I think Southport are under a bit of pressure at the moment, Kanga. Sydney University are pressing.
I just think they've hit a bit of a flat spot, Southport at the moment, but under the pressure of Sydney University, granted.
So Seb Tape marks it right half back. Just bombs it down the outer side wing, and taking a contested mark is Baxter.
Too strong, wasn't he?
Too experienced as well. Used the body well. So Baxter chips it to Fife. Along the edge of the boundary line on the outer side. So Sydney Uni got numbers back. So Fife just measures a kick to Clayton. Clayton then switches it to Murdoch inside the centre square, and then swings it out to the commentary side wing. Reinhardt, he just keeps it in. No, he doesn't. We'll have a ball up right in front of us here on NEFL TV.
Well, that kick just didn't go to the advantage, did it, of Davis, and usually the deadly left foot of Brodie Murdoch. finds its intended target. Ball thrown in right in front of us here. Reeves couldn't take it. Boston can, though. Off one step, belts it in. But there is Hebron. Hebron feeds it out wide, finds Barkley. There's Sam Barkley, little chipping ball on the left foot, finds Goulden. Goulden on that outer side, runs Sirakoski onto it. Oh, good build-up here. Wilson, inside forward 50, and it's downfield as he was collected, Wilson. And this could result in a shot on goal. Might be Reeves was the man who infringed. And he has been reported, I believe, or certainly spoken to by the umpire. No, I think it might just a little bit of a warning. And across the face, the kick goes. And 1 point result. So Sydney Uni hit the front for the first time in this match.
So from the kick in, Manteet marks in the pocket. And then measures a kick to Tate. Flirts the boundary line, but just kept in. So now it's Southport's turn to respond as Tate goes back and board to Charlesworth, who then chips it to Boston. They're still inside defensive 50. But they don't have a lot to go to. So Hall is down the boundary line and Boston tries to measure it to Hancock. A very well weighted kick in the end. So Hancock, he'll just bomb it long down the commentary side wing. Watson and Hall fly for it. Off hands, Clements Rose for the Sharks. Handballs backwards to Boston. He's tackled as he kicked it by Morrison, who then comes in and lays a tackle. Well done to Morrison. We'll have a ball up, centre wing position, commentary side.
Uni players appealing for the free kick there, as Boston didn't get his foot to it. It wasn't so much tackled as more pushed off the football. Good tight work in the close quarters from O'Brien. Sees another ball up. He's rough and tough around the scrimmages, the contest. And there by Marsh, but Manteet just sharked the ball. A little bit of open space, 2-on-1. They get the ball away. That was Taylor. Inside forward 50. Hebron. Just unbalanced there, but got a handball away. Hiscox couldn't take it on the first occasion. Baxter's right there. Just flips the ball up. Finds Wilkinson out of side. Down the line. Over the top of Hancock. And there is Hares. And he was happy for the boundary line to be his friend. And on the outer side, 50 metres around from the goal, we have a throw in. Southport attack.
So Sydney Uni lead this contest by a point. 12 minutes played in the third term. Bit of an arm wrestle at the moment. So from the boundary throw in, no one can extract it. So we'll have a ball up just inside the 50 metre line for the Sharks. So can they pluck a goal here out of a stoppage? Manteet to Clayton, who just bombs it to the goal line but misses to the near side for a minor score. And scores a level again here at Fankhauser Reserve. 7-7 plays 7-7.
And they just kicked it in before the umpire was ready for play to restart, so they'll try again. Come to the clubhouse side this time. Morrison had the spot. Hancock was there, and the ball was be out of bounds on the full, is it? Or is it going to be a throw-in? The throw-in it is. Very close there. Just a little bit of an obscured vision, the commentators we had, but umpire was right on the spot. Go again. Marsh had front spot. Hall was right there with him. And just reaching in. There's a free kick off the ball. It'll go the way of Lee Dale. Gives it to Clayton. Clayton gets it in quickly, wastes no time, looking for the taller targets. Watson was there, couldn't take it with him. And that looked very, very obvious.
And
that was against Dimmery. And the chipping ball, it'll come back though, so play won't be continuing there. So Tyler Roos will be the man with the footy. And that was a bit, well, it wasn't well disguised at all, was it?
No, it was, I think a clear angle from us in the commentary box anyway. Out of bounds on the full, so Ruse will have a difficult shot on goal. Let's see what he can make of it.
Not to be. Across the face. I was waiting for a bit of magic to happen. And sometimes silence just builds a bit of expectation and anticipation. So Sierakowski will have the ball. He'll kick it in from fullback.
Kicks to himself, then runs a few metres and drills it to Hebron at left half back. Sierakowski, a classy footballer, very experienced. Hebron wants to switch play and he's got Morrison in a bit of a paddock on the commentary side. He runs out of defensive 50. Then kicks it down in the Tom Young direction, but what a defensive spoil from Seb Tape. Almost had to dive as he fisted it over the boundary line for a throw in. The commentary side wing.
Well, he's a bit rangier than you think, Seb Tape, isn't he? 192 centimetres. He just doesn't look as big as what he is. And then you add his reach on top of that. He's a good athlete. He's a wonderful player at NEFL level. Dale, quick kick away. Clements is there and met heavily there by Hares, but did well, did Clements. Mutu tries to shake out of a tackle. Quick kick came from Reeves. Wilkinson feeds it up. Manteet, little short pass. Hancock. Good work there by the Sharks, and they built it well and did well not to cough up possession under heavy pressure. Well done there by Rob Clements.
Yeah, they did it very well, didn't they? Clements just took the contact and Mutu with the hands, and I think it spilled to Reeves, and it was a rushed kick, but it fell perfectly to Wilkinson. And the chain of handballs to Manteet and drills it to Hancock. It was a good build-up, needs a good finish.
So I need to start this at the right goal post and just bring it back a little. And he started it left, and it went further left. So not a good kick. And they extend their margin, but only to 2 points. So they move to 7-9-51. Uni 7-7-49. We've played 16 and three-quarter minutes of this third quarter. Tight contest we have.
And much like the second quarter, Kanga, we still haven't seen a goal kick in 16, nearly 17 minutes of play. From the kick in, Charlesworth with a double fist. Falls though Sydney University's way, but Wilson's handball's chopped off by Reeves, and then he's tackled over the line by Wilson, and we'll have a throw in right where the 50-metre line interjects the boundary, and the Sharks attacking end.
I get the feeling that Sydney Uni will back themselves right in. Again, Southport are probably kicking with the benefit of the breeze here, although it is coming a little bit across the ground. It is favouring Southport in this third quarter. Crockmole had Boston, but Boston managed to get a handball away. Mutu, Ruse, that just about should have been holding the ball for mine. Dale underneath there. Also is a player getting up. It might be Foster. The unfamiliar number 40. Turner and Tagliabue having his head just about extracted from his shoulders there with Zach O'Brien. Wins the free kick. Little chipping ball. Finds Young. Young plays on. Has the run. They'll try and open this up. There's Dimmery. Hall just corralling him. Goes inside. Has Goulden there. On the left. Puts it deep. Over the back it goes. Foster's right there. Can he get onto it? That was touch and go. 50-50 call. Umpire calls play on. Plenty of players around the contest now to be balled up. I thought for a moment the way the Southport player came in, it might have been a push.
Yeah, it was a 50-50 call. Close to the line now for Sydney University. Marsh and Turner in the ruck. And coming through at Foster, but he's wrapped up by Davis. We'll have a ball up, not far from where we started. Sydney University pressing here. So, again, Marsh and Turner, just a little tap over the back to O'Brien. Foster, I think it is, again at the bottom of that pack. And we'll have another ball up. So we go third time. Now O'Brien roves, his shot on goal misses for a minor score. Southport 7-9-51, Uni 7-8-50. We played 19 minutes in the third term and still no goals for the quarter.
Ryan Davis, second jumper today. Kicks it long. Tagliabue almost on the third attempt. Now plenty of players around the contest have a ball up. So tough and tight. 1 point the difference. Coming up towards 20 minutes gone. Bird, quick kick out. Didn't go far. Mantee. Taylor, very cleverly done, was Davis, but only managed to get it to Dimmery. Morrison comes through. Manages to elude a couple, but the handball wasn't great. It was Bartholomew's. Couldn't quite get it up to his teammate. And then players pounced everywhere. We'll have another ball up.
How big will the next goal be, Kanga?
Well, it'll be the first goal of the second half. Free kick. It'll go Southport's way for a block in the ruck contest. It'll go the way of Jed Turner.
So Jed Turner just chips it to Taylor in space. And he wants to move on quickly. Long kick down the commentary wing. Wilkinson tries to work himself to front spot. Hebron drops the mark. Wilkinson goes again. Now O'Brien comes through. Gets around one, but the bounce didn't quite sit up for him. He still shrugs off another one. Handballs to Dimmery. Hands to Hebron and then Day. And then spears it to Morrison. Morrison inboard to Goulden. Goulden wants to switch it, and he does to Barkley inside the centre square. He wants to move it over the top to Hiscox. Hancock applying the pressure. Back to Barkley. Barkley's kick falls short of Austin Lucy. He gets around one, but the handball, now they've coughed it up. This is Hancock. Handball's inboard to Clements. What is he going to do with it? Just chips it to centre half forward. 2-on-1 contest favouring the students. And they come away with it. Although Day's run himself in a bit of trouble and they coughed it up again. Mutu, little chipping ball. Hancock. 2 Sydney University players came in and collected him. Advantage paid. Wilkinson ends up with it in the square, but there is carnage inside forward 50. Couple of players down, but Southport kicked the goal.
Hancock, Barkley, and I think it was Hebron was the man who came over the top and collided heavily. Free kick was paid to Hancock, advantage paid, and Southport in the end get an easy goal, but at what cost, with a fair bit of physical contact in amongst that contest. And 7 points now the margin in favour of Southport. That crucial first goal you talked about, Jess, went in favour of the Sharks.
And Barkley's just coming off the ground. It looks okay though. I think everyone got through that contest unscathed. But as you said, Kanga, Southport edge out by 7 points now. 22 minutes played in the third. They've got that handy goal and a bit buffer.
So will they come away with it here? There was Stevenson for Southport. Goulden, he tried to give it up. He managed to get it away eventually. Morrison, he was taken low. So the umpire will bring it back. So
legged in the end.
There he was. It was a trip. So just to the outer side of the centre circle, he will get this free kick. Looking for runners. Goes off his mark and then just chips it. Finds the leading play in Austin Lucy. Lucy kicks it wide. The bounce eludes everybody but favours Sydney University. Murdoch upended. Reeves gets the ball out. Goes wide. Clayton takes a nice mark. And relieving ball for Southport.
As Adam Goulden's just come off the ground limping. So could be an injury concern there for Sydney University.
And ball wide. Wilkinson it is. Gets a quick handball away. The runner Clements. Inside forward 50. Dimmery's there. Baxter also. And the boundary line wins out. And although I think Dimmery was happy to see it over there just the same, as a good defender does.
So Southport are back into attack. And Tagliabue coming up against Josh Hall. Throw in falls short. Tagliabue palms it down to Bird. Gathers it, fires out a handball to Hebron. A couple of metres of space and just measures a beautiful kick to Morrison. Centre half back. Morrison wheels around. He's got Jack Hiscox in a bit of space, and he should run onto this, and he does. Wilkinson is chasing hard. Hiscox just palms him off and then chips it to no one in particular, really. Bad kick. Turner mops up for the Sharks to Tape, and then to Murdoch, and Murdoch hits Jordan Taylor just inside the boundary line.
Well, a bit of fatigue there, but I think Hiscox should have done a lot better with that kick. It's allowed Southport to mop up. Taylor goes down the line. Hebron nearly had it. Tagliabue. He's ripped pretty high. Umpire says fairly by Dylan Mutu. Good bit of vigour. The little man on the big man. Ball up. Half-forward flank. Clubhouse side of the ground. Southport attack. Mutu goes again. Dale provides assistance. Quick kick away. And Hebron is or mop it up at the back. And go wide to the outer side. Have the run of Sirakowski in there away, the students.
Sirakowski kicks inside the square, but only to Seb Tape. And they've coughed it up again, the students, as Tape swishes it to Clayton. Clayton wants to go out wide to Clark in a bit of space. He'll run onto it, but kick is smothered and ricochets into the path of Jack Hiscox. Handballs out wide to Sirakowski. And then to Foster. Just chips it to Tom Young. Had a bit too much on it. 5 for the Sharks on his hands and knees. But he can't evade Tom Young, though. Wraps him up in a tackle. And the umpire's going to call holding the ball. Dived on it and didn't make a good enough attempt to get rid of it. And Tom Young, he's away. Plays on. Wants to find Dimmery, but again the Sharks chop it off. And this is Tyler Roos. Chips out wide to Mutu. Marks in the commentary side wing.
And Mutu just happy to settle things down a little bit. Little chipping ball finds Josh Clayton. Clayton, that's possession number 17. Hall at the back. It was a big fly. Couldn't take it with him. Roos is there. Also there. Now's Day. Day. Kick around the corner. Quite fortunate to find Marsh in the run of O'Brien. Gets the handball. Bonnie. Head front spot. And diving on it. And he might be in trouble here. Is O'Shea. Dimmery's there over the top, and it was pretty evident once he dived on the ball.
Did so well in the marking contest, but yeah, you're right. Just clear dive there and couldn't get rid of it.
So that was Hares Young, O'Brien. Inside forward 50, Lucy's there. Good spoil. Came from Clark. Southport had the numbers. Crockmull gets it on back onto it though for the students. Ball spills just outside the pack now. Who's going to merge? Southport do. Murdoch goes wide to Taylor. Taylor has Mutu on. Now goes to him. Right to the edge of the boundary line. That was very close. Umpire says it stays in. So half back. Mutu just settles things down again.
Great vision there before by Murdoch to find Taylor under pressure. Save the day again.
Just noticed that Sydney Uni have started to open Southport up a little bit through the corridor. Taylor goes down the line. At the back was Hall, just crashed the pack. Stevenson wrapped up, gets a handball away. Bartholomew's up to O'Brien. By hand, now by foot he goes. One-on-one contest. Murdoch's there, and out-pointing him nicely was Jacob Derricks. We haven't seen too many one-on-one contests between those two, and I thought initially that Murdoch had the strength to hold him off, but it was Derricks who won the day.
Yeah, great mark it was from Derricks. And how badly does Sydney University need it just to bring the margin back to a point in the shadows of three-quarter time?
Tight angle. Very deliberate kick at goal, just slides across the face. So the one straight kick, now the margin. For those of you that need to use fingers and toes, that's 6 of them. And Davis brings it in, finds a short one in Clayton.
So Clayton handballs inboard, and siren beats Davis, and it's three-quarter time here at Fankhauser Reserve. We're set up for a thrilling finish as Southport lead 8-9-57 to the students, 7-9-51. And Kangol, what a last quarter we have coming up.
Yeah, we certainly do. 6 points the margin. Just the one goal kicked in that third quarter. 1-3 Southport, and the 4 behinds for the students. What could have been for either side if they'd taken their opportunities there just to open up a bit of a margin. And you just wonder that the incident before half-time, which resulted in back-to-back goals from to Sydney Uni, if this might come back to bite Southport, because Sydney Uni will kick with the benefit, not of a gale, but certainly a little bit of a breeze going down that end or the left of screen in this last quarter.
It's going to be a great finish, and I think both sides have had their moments in this game as well to take control of it. But we're set up nicely at three-quarter time. We'll take a short break here on Neefle TV and come back with the last quarter soon.
Three-quarter time, the margin, one straight kick in favour of the home side, the Southport Sharks, as they take on Sydney University in this round 16 NEAFL clash here. Second versus fourth, crucial game in the context of this season. Sydney University looking to really assert themselves back on this competition, and Southport looking to maintain the rage as they could go clear on top of the ladder, if not temporarily. Mark Kennedy joined by Jess Webster. We're set up for a magnificent last quarter. We'll listen to Jess's voice and her call of this last quarter here at Fankhauser Reserve.
So what a finish we have coming up at Fankhauser Reserve as Turner wins the ruck tap straight down to Stevenson. Fires off a handball to Bird, who sends it inside 50 for the Students. Coming out to meet it, though, is Seb Tape. He's had a great game for the Sharks today. His rebounding kick finds Baxter, who takes a great contested mark over Hares.
Not very tall, Baxter, but geez, he's got good hands. Gets it to half forward. Hall can't take the mark. Good spoil there by his opponent. And players stacks on the mill there, so getting up. It's Goulden back on the ground there, so good news for him. He came off at one stage from the restart. And we'll do it all again as on the bottom there, having a little bit of what he does best. A wrestle is Andrew Boston. We'll try again. Turner. Ruse is there. He tries to emerge from the pack. Little handball, doesn't find a target. And then it's Bird with the ball. I say about a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush or something like that, but he was tackled and wrapped up, and we'll do it again. So tight early, Boston. He's wrapped up, and so it's about four in a row. See if Jess Webster can have any luck calling something to emerge from a pack.
Just outside forward 50 for the Sharks. O'Brien rows it for the Students. High kick down the wing. Bounce evades Reinhard. Coming through is Foster. Spills to Dimmery. A little kick into space from Davis, and he'll run and try and chase his own footy, but he overruns it. Foster tries to come in, and now Young, he's dispossessed, but it spills to Clark. He's unleashed the barrel at a centre half forward, and taking a contested grab over Boston is Craig Bird. Up to disposal number 28, plus 8 tackles and 8 clearances for Bird this afternoon.
So releases Hiscock. A couple of bounces. It just about chased down. It's a bit of pressure on, but the kick was a ripper. Finds Derricks. One goal this afternoon. He's got Young. He approaches. He doesn't quite take the mark. Charlesworth is there. Young's there as well. Throws the foot at it. No contact is made. And Clark and Baxter. Just like a little chipping ball from Baxter. Didn't find its target. It ricocheted back to Baxter, and he was wrapped up. So again, tempers start to fray. One of them is Zach O'Brien.
And he's trying to have words with the umpire as well.
Turner, kick smothered. Dale, likewise, kick smothered. And O'Brien and Baxter, they are not happy with each other. And Turner, uncontested. Bonnie gets the kick away. Up and under. And Derricks is the target. He just held off and protected the drop zone nicely from Brodie Murdoch, and then just clasped those big hands around the ball and go back. This is an important kick. Josh O'Brien and Baxter still going at it. I don't want to insinuate what particularly happened, but I have an idea. So Derricks kicks for goal and slides it across the face. And that's the second shot at goal he's just been errant in.
So it's 5 consecutive behinds now for Sydney University. And that kick in from defence has fallen into the lap of Craig Bird. And here's a chance now for Sydney University to get their first goal of the second half.
Well, that was just a poor kick in. There's no two ways about that. It was a shocker.
So Bird to bring the Students, or get the lead back for the Students. He lets go from just inside 50, but it's fades to the left-hand side for a minor score. A 6th consecutive behind for the students. Southport lead 8-9-57 to 7-11-52.
Well,
53.
Yeah, that's just some poor kicking for goal. At the end of the day, the breeze isn't horrendous. It's a bit swirly. Murdoch got the kick in from Davis that time. Goes out wider. Fife over the back. So the foot race is on. Hiscock's there. Reeves is there. Uni had the numbers, but Fife had the ball. He's immediately wrapped up. And on that basis, Southport wouldn't be too upset with a stoppage so they can get numbers back around the contest. Just in the half of Sydney Uni are attacking too. Right on the outer side. Tagliabue had a mountain of hit-outs. O'Brien, quick kick away. Doesn't go the required distance. Play on is the call. Hares kicks an up and under. Davis is there. Brings the ball to ground. Mantee. And the tackle, that came from Matt Wilson. We'll have a throw in.
So just over 5 minutes played in this last term. 4 points a margin in favour of Southport. They've kicked the only goal in the second half so far. As the umpire tosses the ball back into play, Tagliabue wins yet another hit out, but it falls to Fife. He just bursts through the pack, gets around on the left, high up and under kick, off hands. Hares, handballs backwards to Hebron, who then kicks along the boundary line. Coming out to meet it is Reinhard. Takes the mark, switches it inboard to O'Brien. Should mark, and he does. About 80 metres from home, just a little chipping kick inside 50. Coming through with the fist was Clark. Falls to Roos, handballs backwards to Baxter, but his kick is smothered off the boot. Chain of handballs forced with O'Brien. Fends off one, kick to the square. Great defensive spoil. A goal-saving spoil by, was it Seb Tape? I think it was. Through for a minor score. Margin 3 points.
Just looking a little bit more composed at the moment, Sydney University, than Southport. And getting a few more numbers to the contest. Murdoch goes long down the middle. Hauls a target, but at the back, Hebron takes a nice mark. Had the sit, Lucy. And that is 50 for mine. And that will go to the goal line. Lucy will be okay, I think, but he'll be much happier because he'll go back and kick a goal, and the students will be in front unless they do something silly here. So a bit of discipline, and they'll go to the lead.
Yeah, it's clear late contact there from Reeves. And marches Lucy to the top of the square. It'll be their first goal, Kanga, providing he doesn't make a mistake, since the 29-minute mark of the second.
And Lucy puts the students in front in this last quarter. The game's still very much on the line, but a blow has been landed by the students. They move out to a lead of 3 points, and they've done all the attacking in this last quarter, Jess.
Yeah, they really have, and I think for most of the second half, it's, you know, Sydney Uni have definitely kept pressing, and you feel as though Southport almost are just hanging on. It's just been a funny old game, Kanga, because I feel like whoever sort of is leading the contest, you think doesn't really have control of the contest, and yet they're in front on the scoreboard. So I don't think it's going to open up. I think it'll be an arm wrestle right to the end. So we're back in the middle. Turner against Marsh. Clark with the clearance. High kick inside 50. Offhands, Wilkinson tries to rove, but he overruns it. Bird on his hands and knees. He's wrapped up in a tackle. We'll have a ball up just outside forward 50, Southport's attacking end.
Just don't look like they got the same run and carry as they did earlier in the game, or look as dangerous at ground level. Crockmore over the top. Gets a handball to a man under extreme pressure. Just wrapped up there. There's Bird. His experience vital at the moment. Bird and O'Brien. Turner hits it forward. Clements just throwing the leg at it there was Clayton. He'll get it back now. High up and under. Hancock. Hebron. He just come over the top with a good spoil. Hall tries to come through. Takes the ball with him. Now emerging with it was Morrison, although it's plucked from his grasp. I'm going to get my enunciation correct as Dimery lays a tackle on Fife.
So as it stands, Kanga, if Sydney University win today, we will have 4 teams locked in first place on the ladder, with Canberra to play NT Thunder in Darwin later tonight. So Manteet trying to come through from the ball up. Now it spills to Ruse, to Manteet. Monty Crockwell's in there and he's tackled, dispossessed, ball still alive. Now it spills out to Dimmery. Handball tries to find Hebron, just kicks it along the ground, falls to Tape. Handball's backwards to Clayton. Now it lands into the path of Clark and he's run into trouble and he's coughed it up, holding the ball, and Sydney University are away. Stevenson finds Bonnie just inside forward 50. He's got Lucy running for him. Murdoch will try and come in and apply the pressure, and Lucy's coughed up the footy. Now Murdoch for the Sharks. Defensive kick is almost chopped off by Stevenson. Bonnie gathers, and that's holding the ball. Unlucky, I think, there.
Well, the umpire suggested he didn't get a hand to it with the handball, so essentially became a throw of sorts.
The Southport have gotten out of trouble here.
That was, you'd suggest, an absolute botched goal by Uni. They had the numbers. Hall goes high. Day was the spoiler, then he gets it Day, and he's rammed into the ground, and the ball up will be the call. Luck's a fortune for Southport, you'd suggest. Ball up 60 metres from Uni's goal. O'Brien with another clearance. Starting to get a little bit on top in the midfield. Boston overruns it. Wilkinson just paddles it in front. Young stands in the contest. O'Brien gets it out. Emerging with it was Tate. Well done to him. Little chipping ball finds probably the smallest man on the ground in Clements. Or he and Fife, I think, are about the same size.
Exactly the same size. The equal shortest NEFL players. There you go. Fun fact for you, Kanga. 168 centimetres.
Yep, on the same side. And Clayton with the ball at half back. We'll let you take this portion of the call with the fun facts.
So Clayton down the outer side wing. Again in the front spot, taking the mark is Ryan Hebron.
It's been good today, I think.
He leads the competition in marks, and he's had another few today.
Just putting his boot back on, so that's why he's down there. Can't quite see that. Taking a while. Obviously complicated setup with the laces there to do up, and again a little bit of, well, there's a bit of downtime, a little bit of push and shove at half forward on the outer side. O'Brien and Boston happy to engage amongst others. So Hebron, kick finds Lucy, just fell shorter than anticipated, and Lucy was the right spot at the right time. So the boy from the Sunshine Coast in Queensland kicks it long over the back of Tate. Taylor, not sure where to go.
Ooh. It's deliberate.
And that's deliberate. So the umpire is called deliberate. Play on is the call. O'Brien gets the goal. Southport, they're not happy. It matters not. And how did you see that, Jess? He was happy to take the tackle, but was he over the line? There's no doubt that when O'Brien made the contact, he took him over the line, but it's a matter of intent. And I got to say, I think he's harshly done by.
Yeah, I think it's a 50-50 call. I don't think it was as deliberate as what I think the rule is there for. So, yeah, harsh, but to Sydney Uni's credit, they've really worked hard for this lead late in the game. 2 consecutive goals now. The first time in the contest, or the first time since the first quarter, they kicked back-to-back goals. Now they're out to a 9-point lead.
So back in the middle. A couple of very, very important goals. Very telling. Wrapped up like the mummy. Both in tape and in tackle was Charlesworth. Tagliabue gets it down. O'Brien's there. He's really grown in stature as this game's gone on. And just his ball-winning prowess has started to really come to the fore.
He's up to 26 disposals, 8 clearances, 6 inside 50s and a goal now, O'Brien.
I think, as we see another ball up, I've got to say, I think they've been outsmarted around the rotations around those stoppages a little bit, Southport.
Ball up inside the centre square. Southport really need to respond. They're yet to score in this final quarter, and Sydney Uni have put on 2 goals, 3 to take the lead. It's about 14 minutes played in this final term. Secondary ball up in the square. Give that one to Turner. Down to Clements. Throws it on the left boot. High up and under. Serakowski first to meet it. Spills to Hall. He can't extract it though. Now Hebron for the students. Handball's in the path of Jack Hiscox, and he takes a bounce. Has a second bounce along the outer side and then measures a kick to Reinhard. Marks just inside the boundary line. Squares it up to Wilson. So Wilson will just bomb it inside 50. Here's Derricks again. This time Murdoch spoils, falls to Davis. Davis with the clearing kick to Mutu. Has time to mop up. Tries to get around Reinhardt, but he's wrapped him up. He gets the hands away. It's a turnover though, inside 50. Murdoch and Davis spoil each other. And ball in dispute at ground level. Umpire is circling and he's called holding the ball. Free kick to Southport going against Derricks.
Well, they need 2 goals now, Southport, so they need to think about how they're going to get through. They've only kicked the 1 goal in the second half. Kick was a nice one. Finds its intended target. That's Wilkinson. Just lays the ball up. And that is not a good kick. It's Morrison. Well, I think he's had a pretty serviceable game. I think he's been quite good, quite composed at various times. Harry Morrison. University, just go to half forward. Find Wilson. Wilson on the left foot, chipping ball. Finds Hares. And Hares, right at the forward 50. Loads it up. Deep ball. Dangerous ball. And Young turns around, finishes it off, and Sydney University have kicked away to a 15-point lead. And we've played 16 minutes of this last quarter. Crucial goals.
Absolutely. That's 3 goals, 3 to nothing in this final term. And Sydney University, they're all over Southport at the moment. So, I mean, it's still within Southport's reach, but they've only kicked 1 goal in the second half, and it's just hard to see how they can actually penetrate the Sydney Uni defence. They're confident at the moment they can smell the 4 points, Kanga, and looks like they might be on their way.
Quite amazing the way I thought Southport were all over Uni, particularly early. And it's been Uni that have really come over the top in a big way.
So, can Southport respond? Top spot on the ladder is on the line is Bird. Rose and clears the footy for the students. Taylor just fists it into space. Charlesworth will run on. And then he handballs back to Taylor. Just a rush kick down the line. A pack will form. Clements, Rose. Handballs to Ruse. And a sweeping handball over the top is a good one to Clayton. He can't gather it though. And forces a ball up now. Just outside forward 50, close to the boundary line. In the Sharks attacking end of the ground.
Just going a little bit up and down on the same spot, Southport. Looking a little tired. Errors creeping in. And Sydney Uni a little bit more on top of the ground. A bit of a hold up there as Fife comes on. So did we have a blood rule there, did we? Play stop, but now we're underway again. Turner hits it forward. Bartholomew's. It's around, it skirts around the pack, goes down the line. Foster couldn't grab it. Southport emerge. Charlesworth. And Reeves just gets a kick away. Falls to Dale. Dale to Baxter. Baxter goes long. Hauls the target at the back. Now reaches for it. Hebron will be happy for the line. And a throw in, says the umpire.
So they've got to get a wriggle on. Nearly 19 minutes played in this final term, and Sydney Uni lead it by 15 points. So we'll have a throw in inside forward 50 for the Sharks. Turner against Tagliabue. Turner wins it. Dale can't gather it. Now a chance for Ruse. Little dribble kick towards goal. Wasn't going to be a goal anyway, and Day just tapped it through for a minor score. Southport 8-10-58. Sydney Uni 10-12-72.
Day not sure where to go, so decides to backtrack and then goes in the pocket. Chipping ball finds Crockmole. Sure what he's going to do. Assessing his options, decides to go back. Dangerous kick, and Davis just doesn't quite hang on to it under the pressure of Hebron. Ball comes out.
Well done,
Davis to go again, and that would look like a bit of a high tackle. Umpire says no. Crockmole was right there, and the ball tied up now under a few. Almost came right undone. That defensive work there from Sydney Uni.
So from the ball up, coming through as Mantete is dispossessed. Now Baxter with the hands. Can't find a target. Plenty of numbers around this footy. Fife comes in now. Just handballs into space. Clayton pops it up to Reeves. Just chips it in the Wilkinson direction. Coming through with a fist is Morrison. Clements Rose. Close to the boundary line. Just keeps it in. Dale. Handballs to Hancock. He's wrapped up in a tackle. And now Sydney University, their numbers should win out. This is Sirakowski. He's just gets the hands away, but Clayton intercepts. Throws it on the right boot. Hall will fly at this one. Can't take the mark. Clements at ground level. Throws it on the boot, but it's off hands over the boundary line for a throw in. And Southport, they're still inside forward 50. But just tough to find a way through that Sydney University defence.
It's been hard work. They've made very hard work of it. We've got a blood rule. As coming off is Jack Hiscox, and just lets Rob Clements know that, mate, I'm heading off the ground. Just gives him the heads up. There's a little bit of claret coming out of his neck.
Ooh.
On the back of his head, in fact. So he's been opened up in the back of his head there. So it doesn't look horrible. A little bit of blood there, but doesn't seem too badly affected. Tagliabue at the back. Crockmole's there. He's wrapped up. Umpire says play on. O'Brien clears it. Turner. Just trying to spin out was Wilson. He was wrapped up easily. Charlesworth. And again, the numbers from Sydney Uni, I was going to say they're going to win the day, but again, it was just a congested footy. Charlesworth does well. Taylor has his kick smothered. It's going to open up here for the students. Standing there and giving was Derricks. Now to Wilson. Wilson is going to go via ground. That's not going to get there because Murdoch was awaiting, playing the goalkeeper. Dangerous kick to Mutu. The spoil was good. Bonnie's there. Gets it over the top. Dimmery can finish it, and he does! Sydney Uni will turn this around from a 6 weeks ago at this ground, a thumping of 110 points they copped, and they're going to walk away this afternoon as victors. Amazing.
That was just the pressure and not giving up on the play, and they just their will then, Sydney University, to put the pressure on Southport and finished off by Dimmery, and that makes it 4-3 to 1 behind in this final quarter. And like you said, Kanga, they'll be so pleased to not only get the 4 points, but the way they've grinded out this match. It's been a tough, contested stoppage fest, but they've just grinded it out, and they will come out on top. The margin now 20 points at the 23-minute mark of the final term.
Well, I might have said earlier, a line in the sand game, and I think that's exactly what it is for them. Marsh got the hit out, but his opposite number in Turner got it down. Ball inside forward 50 as a free kick. It'll go the way of Josh Hall, and Hill can go back and kick a goal. He'll need to kick accurately if Southport are going to have any chance whatsoever. We played 23 minutes. They're going to have to peel goals off quickly, albeit. 20 points the margin. Hall comes in and misses, hits the post. And that you'd suggest, even though Southport scored, it wasn't what they were looking for. Just about finish it.
You think the students will start to milk the clock. 24 minutes gone now. Sierakowski kicks to himself. Driving kick outside defensive 50. Derrick's at the back. He's really grown into this game and taken a couple of contested marks in the second half. So from left half back, just bomb it down the line. Reinhard in a bit of space. Kick had too much on it for him though. Spills over the boundary line for a throw in right in front of us here on Neefle TV.
Well, they'll be very, very pleased with this result, will the students. Ball back into play right in front of us here in the commentary position. Turner at the back, got the hit out. O'Brien, little handball, Ruse, and also Crockmole just wrestling for the ball. No real winner, as the umpire says, I'll have it. Ball it back up again. Turner put in the path of Mantete, who went off the ground. Hall, Sierakowski did well. Dale just puts it into the path of Mantete. Kick over the top. Barkley leads the race. Players ahead of him tripped over. Wilkinson lays the tackle, does well. And it is Davis trying to kick it to the smallest man, or the smallest men in Fife, and also Clements. 2 beats 1. Had to stack them on top of each other. And at ground level, they did the damage just the same. So Clements kicks a goal. Too little, too late, one would think. And the margin, it'll push back to 13 points.
Well, you think 25 minutes, you don't think it'll go any longer really than about 30 minutes. So there's about 5 minutes of play, you think. 13 points of difference. They need 3 goals. So it'll take a mighty effort, but they did come from the clouds a little bit a couple of weeks ago against Brisbane when we thought they were done and dusted. So it gives them a glimmer of hope, but everything has to go their way from here on in. So they have to win this centre clearance. Tagliabue against Turner. And Clayton will be first to meet it. Just wheels around on the left boot, kicks into space. Coming through is Sierakowski. And then a long kick down to half forward. Off hands. And ball up will come. Almost on the wing position out of side.
Gee whiz. It's one for the books. Is this one, this turnaround. The free kick's been picked out. Go the way of Sierakowski. Not sure what that one was for. Any idea, Jess?
No, I didn't see it actually. Can't help you.
Chipping ball finds Hares. Lobs the ball up. Side forward 50, plenty of players. The ball goes over the back though. Ground level now. Tagliabue feeds it out, looking for his smalls. Can't find a target, and the ball dribbles harmlessly out of bounds. And that just keep it in the right area for the students. They press towards victory here.
So from the throw-in, Turner against Tagliabue. Ball spills over the back. Dale. He's followed by Zach O'Brien. Coming through is O'Shea, but he coughs it up. Dimmery, left foot snap towards the hot spot. Clark and Derricks. Ball spill, still a chance for the students. Reinhardt's wrapped up. Now Clark intercepts, just hacks it out of congestion. Hancock has a few to beat here. Gets a kind bounce, weaves around one. Handballs to Reeves, and then just bombs it down the line. Numbers should win out for Sydney University. Bounce favours Sierakowski to Hebron. Handballs to Bonnie in space. Chips it in the O'Brien direction. Coming from behind is Boston. Spoils the footy. O'Shea. Handballs backwards to Reeves. They need a run here, the Sharks. Mutu just throws it on the boot straight to Sierakowski. And that'll be the end of that, you'd think, Kanga.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of wishful thinking for the last couple of minutes. Kick at half forward. Came to ground. It was Charlesworth. It was the man that went for it. No O'Shea. Down with it. And was wrapped up. So we'll have a ball up. Closing stages of this game here at Fankhauser Reserve. Ruse off the side of the boot. That's out of bounds on the full. That won't do the world of good. So A couple of players off the boil today at Southport, and Sydney Uni have had plenty of contributors. Hall can't take it. Turner's there. Taylor, I should say, is there. And Turner picks the ball up, gives it to the umpire. No clear winner of the ruck contest. Dimmery gets it to Young. Young just fakes it to a few, has his kick smothered by O'Shea. Boston gets it back, but only gives it up as far as Hares. So on this commentary wing side of the ground.
Only moments left in this round 16 contest at Fankhauser Reserve. Sydney University will go to equal first on the ladder with Canberra still to play NT Thunder later on this evening in Darwin. Makes things very interesting in the run home of the 2018 NEAFL season as that kick out of bounds on the full. But the siren is imminent. Southport lead, or Sydney Uni lead, by 13 points. So Boston with the footy in his hands. Bombs it long down the commentary wing. Hancock can't gather it. O'Brien just toes it along the deck, and then Boston toes it along the ground as well. Spills over the boundary line for a throw-in.
To the victor go the spoils. It'll be interesting at the final siren to see what happens, given the niggle that's been in these last couple of games. Young pushes off Turner and gets a handball off to O'Brien. Now to Foster. Foster down the line. Close to the boundary line. Stays in for Reinhardt. Shares it with Derricks and then gets it back. Gives the ball off to Lucy. Derricks now. Gives it over the top. Wilson around the corner. The ball stays in. I thought it was going through. And standing up in the contest was Wilson. He went again. Clark puts a tackle on. Wilson goes again around on the left. Is it going to get there? No. Across the face. Gee, what about the repeated efforts there of Wilson?
They fought right to the final siren as Sydney University, as Murdoch from the kick-in just drives it long into the centre square, and taking the mark is Watson. Handballs to Clayton, who just hacks it out of there. And Davis will have to beat a couple of Students players. Sirakowski emerges with it, wheels around and finds it's Hares out in space.
Really worn them down, Sydney Uni. Southport look out on their feet. And that is the final siren as you hear it. A little bit of a pause there. I just looked at the bench and Damien Bonney came off it and certainly gave a signal of triumph. And plenty of Sydney University players out there very pleased with their afternoon's work as they run away victors 11-13-79 to Southport 9-11-65. The margin was 14 points and it is a 124-point turnaround from their meeting 6 weeks ago in what was a phenomenal effort from the students, Jess Webster.
It really was, and it was just such a tough game of footy. And like I mentioned earlier, they'd be so happy to not only get the 4 points, but I think the way that they really fought for these 4 points today will please Coach Tom Morrison. Puts the students back into equal first place on the ladder, and what a run home we have to see who finishes in that all-important top 2 finish, and they get a week off at a home prelim final. It's worth its weight in gold. But Sydney University, they really put it on in the second half to come from behind and seal this win. As we look at some of the top possession winners, Zach O'Brien, 30 disposals and 9 clearances. Craig Bird, 30 disposals and 9 clearances. And for the Sharks, Josh Clayton, 27 disposals and 12 marks. Michael Menteith, the next best, with 21 disposals and a goal.
Well, phenomenal effort. We've already seen one upset this afternoon, or in this morning's game, the first game, with the Gold Coast Suns defeating the Sydney Swans in an unlikely result there. And we've seen another unlikely result here with Sydney University beating Southport here. So we might wrap it up, I think, Jess Webster. It's been a fascinating afternoon's football, and two sides, they'll be tired. And Sydney University, they will have the spoils, and it's always good coming off after a tough game with a victory. And on behalf of myself, Mark Kennedy, and also Jess Webster, thanks for joining us this afternoon for this round 16 clash. And it was Sydney University, the away side, coming away with the 4 points. We'll see you again next week.